Welcome in, belly up, have a seat, and grab a drink as we talk some Wingman Fantasy Football.
All right, welcome into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'm joined by my good pal here, Mr. Bernie, a.k.a. Team B.
Cuban B. Yes, Cuban B.
How are you doing today, Bernie?
Oh, I am alive and alive. Live and alive.
All right, guys. All right, so we are at the Furley House Oktoberfest Beer Garden tent, where we will be doing a live stream. Obviously, if you're here, you see us. If you're not watching this live, just go ahead and watch us.
And things happen, like acorns fall from the sky when you're live.
Is that what that was?
I don't know. No, it might have been a bulb inside of this. Nope. I don't know.
All right, I got hit in the head with something. Anyway, we're doing it live.
Unscripted.
All right, guys. Before we get any further along in today's Oktoberfest special, let's make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingmen assemble! All right, now that everyone is here, let's get into some news and notes for the week 7 games. All right, we're going to start off. We have a lighter week in terms of the teams that are on bye this week. We only have 2 teams on bye, as the Chicago Bears and the Dallas Cowboys are on bye this week. So let's set the schedule for this week. Just going back over what we went over on our last show, we have 2 Monday night games this week, with the Ravens taking on the Bucks and the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. And the Sunday night matchup has a very intriguing game, with the New York Jets taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, where we'll have a couple players making their season debuts or team debuts, as Russell Wilson is expected to make the start for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Davante Adams. Yeah, he's going to be playing for the Jets this week. And don't forget, there's an early game on Sunday morning, as the Patriots will take on the Jaguars in London. And this past Thursday night game, with the Denver Broncos taking on the New Orleans Saints, and the Saints laid a stinker, with Javonte Williams becoming a mecca stud, as he scored not only his first touchdown of the season, but he also added his second later in the game. All right, what do you have on some of these games here?
I'm going right to that Thursday game. Kamara was a bust, and let's you could say you did good with Javonte, but he was on your bench.
Well, yes. The thing was, we were waiting out to see if Jordan Mason potentially could be healthy, and he's been taken off the injury report, so he's healthy, although I still think one big hit can knock him out. Yeah. But that was the gamble.
It was,
So
happens to the best of us.
It also happens to the worst of us. So that's all right, guys. So we're going to find out who's in or out, who's hurt or not, in this week's not quite yet official inactives. We have some... What the hell's happening?
Oh, boy. Is it live, man?
Spring?
Maybe. Oh, is it that thing? Just did the spring pop out and then come back and hit you in the head?
I don't know. All right, guys. Sorry for that. A little distracted here. There's something making a loud noise right next to my face. Anyway, so we're going to see what players might have already been ruled out for this week and which ones are trending towards playing. We have Bernie looking at the Twitter feeds on wingmanfantasyfootball.com/gameday to get all the latest news. What do you have, Mr. Bernie?
Well, nothing really big so far. Zay Jones is a hamstring. Michael Wilson, nobody's playing him. Nobody cares. Joey Bosa, Mason Rudolph.
Well, Mason Rudolph's getting a start. They're sitting.
Levis. Yes. Here we go. Okay, so Levis. It's about time. Mason Rudolph should give them the energy that they need. He is a good backup quarterback. I don't think he's lost a step or the edge.
I don't think he ever had a step, really.
Yeah, that's why you can't lose it. If you don't have it, you can't lose it. But he does have an edge to him. He does play with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder kind of play. So I think that's okay for their offense.
So a couple other things I noticed. Jonathan Taylor's out. You had him in your lineup last time when we spoke, and now he's been ruled out.
Oh, yes, Jonathan Taylor.
You're skipping over for the big stuff, man.
Yeah, well, it wasn't on the feed in the order that I needed it to be in. But, yeah, so I was expected. It happened last week. It happened the week before, I believe. Goes from questionable to out right before the game. Just keep him, put him on IR at this point. Like, let's not fool around with it.
And then I also noticed that Marvin Harrison Jr. has cleared the concussion protocol. He is the first offensive player, at least that I've noticed, that has been concussed and will play the very next week. Did you see anything on the league neighbors?
Wait, how many players have done that? Been concussed and played the next week?
He's the first one.
Really? Did Josh Allen not go into that protocol?
He never went in the they called it a chest injury.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
He wasn't diagnosed with a concussion at all.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm sorry. What was the original question? Neighbors?
Yeah. Has he been cleared? And he's expected to play, I believe.
He is not designated yet. So he's cleared, but they haven't given him a designation yet.
And I also want to mention another big piece of news. One of your players here, we have Nicholas Chubb III has been officially activated. He will play this week for the Browns, and also Jerome Ford has been ruled out, meaning that he might get more work than you would think for his first game back. Are you going to play Nicholas Chubb III?
Well, I don't know what the segments are going to be in this show, so we could talk about this now.
Yeah,
I have Smith-Schuster and Chubb in the last flex spot. Who one's in, one's out. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I think Smith-Schuster is going to have a big game, and that's just a gut feeling based on nothing, except for last week. And the needs that Kansas City has and the team that they're playing. But Nick Chubb, it's just, I am 80% confident that they bringing him back at the right time and he's going to have a full workload. But there's that 20% chance that might lose me the week because Kamara laid an egg. Not an egg, but he didn't do any good.
I would think for Chubb, regardless of his productivity,
right,
based on the amount of carries he can get, for example, if they're close to the red zone, he's the guy getting that touchdown, man. They're not letting Watson
if they're
do
close to the red zone. That's why I had I can't even remember the guy that I had that was the idea. They're not going to get touchdowns, but they're going to get close to the end zone. They're not going to get close to the end zone though. It's like unless Jameis comes in, they're not moving the ball good enough where they're going to be end zone shots in the red zone.
All right. I think that there's too much hype around Chubb this week. I think I would.
So Smith-Schuster's a start for you.
No. I mean, I'm telling you what I would do, but doesn't mean you have to do it. All right. Any other players that were ruled out this week that you noticed?
Oh my gosh, Mike, you put me on the spot. Yes. Who's ruled out?
Mike Evans had a late injury. I think he's been cleared to play. He's off the injury report now. Like we mentioned before, Jordan Mason has been. He has no injury designation, so he's all set to play this week.
Right. I'm sorry, Michael. I did not have it pulled up and ready to go. Okay. What did I see? Aaron Jones is likely back.
Oh, yeah, to see that.
Yes. Cooper Kupp 50-50 on the play with Cooper. Right. So we don't know what's going to happen with Cooper.
Cooper Kupp or Amari Cooper?
Oh, Cooper Kupp
okay.
is 50-50 to play. ATN is a game time decision, so that's a big one. James Cook is expected to play. Ramondre is a game time decision.
Okay.
Amari Cooper is expected to play. So Josh Downs, Mike Evans. We just said that he sits again. Oh, Dallas Goedert, but nobody's got Dallas Goedert.
No.
Yeah. Once everybody came back healthy, Dallas was done. Deontay Johnson, no. Singletary is expected to play. Will Levis. That was it.
All right.
Do you have anybody else that might be out?
Not that I can think of the top of my head here. I feel like there's a couple guys, but maybe not so much. So as far as our fantasy matchups, how bad was your projection going into Thursday, and how bad is it coming out of Thursday?
It was bad going in. It wasn't great. So it was, that's the live projection. Man, I don't have it. 83.61 is what I have now, and I believe I was above 90. So 88 is her original projection, and I was winning a little bit, and I was like in the mid 90s, I believe.
All right.
It's still tough sledding. The Juju Smith-Schuster and Chubb is going to be the decision maker there. So what about you? What about your team here?
I'm sticking with the guys I had in there. I'm not looking to make any changes. So we have with Mason Rudolph is not a prolific passer, but maybe that'll be a good news for Calvin Risky.
Yeah, but didn't you weren't you deciding 2 tight ends or no tight ends or 1 tight end? Kelsey's definitely in.
That was based upon the availability of Jordan Mason.
Gotcha.
That's what I was waiting on that. So I was like, I had a backup plan in case that fell apart.
Okay.
That's why I didn't play Williams, because at the worst I still had a couple other options as the week got later.
Yeah, and it looks like Hubert Ridge does have Cooper Kupp in his lineup at the moment. So Cooper Kupp comes in. I mean, you picked Matt Stafford as your start of the week, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. So you could be shooting yourself in the foot if Cooper Kupp has a big game.
I'm pretty good at jinxing the opponent, so we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how that goes.
All right, guys. I think, is there anything in the chat? Did you happen to notice? Did you pull that up? I know I'm putting a lot on you here.
Yeah, you're putting a lot on me. That's okay. I'm not at my setup, obviously. I'm live at the bar. Usually I have my setup and I've got things running differently off of a desktop and not off of my mobile. So, nothing in the chat.
All right.
Oh, yeah, one guy's in the chat. He says, hello, is there anybody out there?
Yes. Yes, we're here.
We're here. We're the only two out here.
Who'd that come in from?
From me. I sent that as a test message.
Wow. I got my hopes up a little bit. All right, guys. Well, we're speaking into the void, and we welcome it. So we have a lot. We're going to have fun tonight with our Oktoberfest. Everyone else is inside. They'll be out in a little bit as more people
it's still early, though. How did poker finish up? Who won?
Gerhardt.
Oh, did you get second?
I did get second.
Okay, that was good. Well, that's why, we're a little early because Mike's not that good and he can't last with the old man that's 80 years old.
Who was knocked out first?
Not me. I was second or third. We were in one table.
All right, guys. I want to. Oh wait, I do have one thing real quick. You mentioned it before because you were you were concerned that you had to move Chubb out of your IR spot.
Oh yes.
And then, but I was like, well, you don't have to, you can swap him. You probably have somebody on your team who's going to be declared out. And you said Jonathan Taylor has been declared out. So I had a tip or trick for you. So why don't we do this proper? And why don't we get a little imaging for a tip and trick?
Tips and tricks.
Or quirks for jerks.
All right, so here's the tip and trick, or a quirk for you jerks out there. So you may have noticed, because I've seen, for example, Reggie's Lionize dropped Wandale Robinson and nobody else, and a couple other teams of people have been dropping one player because they have to make space when they have a player who was out in their IR spot is no longer with the O designation.
Exactly. Before they make any other moves.
But if right now, tonight, even tomorrow night, Monday's a little sketchy, depends on when they play. If you start making waiver claims, even with a guy who's in your IR at O, with an O, not an IR, those moves will still go through if you put him in your list while he's in that O.
Okay.
If you wait till Tuesday, his O will go from O to questionable.
So once the designation changes,
you can't pick up somebody without either moving someone else into that spot or dropping somebody.
So the official IR spot designation is IR, O, and NA.
NFI, I guess.
NFI,
PUP. I don't think NA counts anymore.
Okay. So as long as they're in those designations, you can do a swap with the waiver wire pickup with them still in that IR spot. But if it's anything but that, you got to move them out of the IR spot in order to do a swap on the waiver wire.
Right. You can change your starting lineups, but you can't change your roster.
Right.
If you have someone, Yahoo lets you keep people in your IR who aren't IR eligible, but they lock your team.
So this is what I did today. I had Nick Chubb, who was in my IR spot, off of the PUP designation into the questionable designation, but I had Jonathan Taylor in the O designation in my normal lineup. I was able to swap the IR spot, so I didn't have to drop somebody, move him out, and then move somebody in. So that was a nice little
you can do that as well, right?
Quirk for a jerk. Yours can be the tip, and mine will be the quirk.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if you want to pick up somebody and pick up somebody, for the waiver wire period, Wednesday morning. Don't wait till Tuesday night to make a pick if the person in your IR spot is not a long-term IR player, because you won't be able to make a move without dropping another person. But if you put in that waiver claim,
wait though. So if you have somebody coming out of the IR spot for a waiver claim, no, you can't do that. Yeah,
No.
okay. So what are you talking about?
all right, say for example right now you have Jonathan Taylor in your IR because he has an O,
Got it.
and you wanted to drop, I don't know, the worst player on your team.
Yeah, that guy, Tracy Jr.'s
All
gone.
right, you want to drop Tracy on Tuesday night,
Okay.
but you can't do it because Jonathan Taylor will no longer have an O next to his name by Tuesday night. So you can't make a move until you get someone out of your IR that's not IR eligible.
But the only way to get somebody out of your IR is to drop one of your bench players.
Not if you do it while he's still in the O.
Oh.
If you put the waiver claim in on Sunday night while he's in the O, even if he comes out of it on Tuesday.
So making waiver claims while you have somebody in the IR spot that doesn't have the proper
So what I used to do
designation.
if I had a bad team or I was in turnover, I would just put in, this is what you could do.
How many times has this happened to you that this needs to be a thing?
It's a thing, man.
Oh, wow.
So
I don't think this has ever happened to me.
on Sunday night, you just start putting in all the random names.
Right.
You just say, I'm going to pick them up for $0 because you can edit their price later. You can cancel it later, but you can't create a claim later.
Right.
So create all the claims, even if it's like 10 guys for one guy you're going to drop. And at the end, just cancel them if you don't want to do it. But if you wait till Tuesday, you can't do it at all.
Yeah, I don't think I could play it like that. I understand, because I'd probably forget, and then I'd get a claim for somebody I didn't want to claim for. Like, I'd get that pickup. I'd be like, oh, I forgot to cancel it.
Oh, well.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
If you're willing to drop the guy, you're willing to drop him.
That's a good trick.
So, all right, guys, I want to thank you all so very much for joining us on our first live stream of the season. Can't promise I'll be another one. And we're here at the Oktoberfest beer garden tent, and we're going to start getting loose. So with that being said, guys, don't forget you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Music, and YouTube Music. Just search Wingman the League on those platforms to find our audio feeds. If you want to find our audio or video feeds, go to wingmanentertainment.net/podcast. And of course, if you're here, you already know, go to our YouTube channel at wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube. If you're over there, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and notification bell, and leave a comment, and we'll get you in on our next mailbag segment. So with that being said, guys, may your glasses be full, your mugs stay frosty.
Ziggy zaggy, ziggy zaggy, oi, oi, oi! Ziggy zaggy, ziggy zaggy, oi, 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 oi!
Prost! All right. Oh, we got people showing up now. The party's starting at 6:30, and we're just getting a quick little early one. And, all right, guys, have a great day, and we will see you next time.